Hello and welcome to Mickeyology, where we take Disney a little too seriously. I'm Austin Rathall, and today we're examining one of my favorite animated films, Ratatouille. This movie is a masterpiece, and like other films directed by Brad Bird, it uses a simple story to ask big questions, like what is art? What's the value of criticism? And did that guy really kill someone with just his thumb? Our question today, though, is when and where does this classic take place? Okay, you probably know where it takes place. When does the film take place, though? Let's check out the clues and find out. The makers of Ratatouille went to Paris to study the city and its cuisine. They examined Parisian architecture and dined in some of Paris's finest restaurants. While the filmmakers strove to make their animated Paris feel authentic, they didn't set their Paris in a specific time. Production designer Harley Jessup said, "We wanted to create a timeless version of the city, so we styled and caricatured things to create a sort of fairy tale Paris." While the movie does feel timeless, we can find clues to when it takes place, if we're paying attention, that is.
I'll be paying attention. Very close attention.
Let's start with the dialogue. When food critic Anton Ego finds out Gusteau's restaurant is popular again, he pulls out his last review of the restaurant and reads,
Gusteau has finally found his rightful place in history right alongside another equally famous chef, Monsieur Boyardee.
Touché.
The Chef Boyardee Company was founded by a real chef named Ettore Boyardee in 1928. Since Ego refers to Chef Boyardee in his review, the company must already exist and be famous by the time of the film. Therefore, the movie must take place a while after 1928. When Chef Skinner discovers Linguini may be the late Gusteau's son and heir, Skinner asks his lawyer to investigate. The lawyer confirms his fears, saying,
DNA matches. The timing works, everything checks out.
Professor Alec Jeffreys developed DNA testing in 1984, and the following year he published a paper explaining how it could be used for paternity testing. Since Skinner's lawyer is using DNA testing for that purpose in the movie, we know the movie must take place sometime after 1985. We now know the movie takes place sometime in or after the 80s, but can we narrow it down any further? The answer is yes, thanks to Pixar's gloriously detailed set dressing. In movies, there are props, there are sets, and then there are things in between. Little objects, decorations, and knickknacks that fill in the background and make a set feel lived in. Pixar does digital set dressing, and some of the touches that they added to Ratatouille's virtual sets contain clues to when the movie takes place. The movie opens with a TV montage about Chef Gusteau. In it, Gusteau appears on the covers of several magazines. All these magazines are real publications. Now, Gourmet, Bon Appetit, and Food and Wine all published their first issues before 1985, so that doesn't give us a lot of new information. However, the first issue of Cuisine magazine didn't appear until 1996, therefore the movie must take place after that year. Speaking of the 90s, that's when the movie's health inspector received his license. It says so on a poster hanging beside the back door of Gusteau's kitchen. This health inspector got his license in 1998, and his license is set to expire in 2020. Ah, poor ignorant health inspector. He probably thinks renewing his license will be the most stressful thing he'll have to deal with in 2020. This poster tells us that the movie must take place sometime after 1998. The most important clue, however, is Gusteau's will. Remy stumbles upon the document in Skinner's office, and because Pixar's artists pay great attention to detail, this will is signed and dated. It says Made in Paris, 23rd June 2000, the last digit isn't clear. It could be a 1 or a 4, but at any rate, we know Gusteau must have died after he made this will, which was during or after the early 2000s. The will also says Gusteau leaves his restaurant business to any living heirs who claim it within 2 years of his death. Midway through the film, Skinner's lawyer says,
The deadline passes in 3 days.
Soon after, Linguini discovers Gusteau is his father and claims his inheritance. That means the movie must take place within 2 years of Gusteau's death, which puts it somewhere in the 2000s. Since the movie came out in 2007 and there's no evidence filmmakers intended to set the film in the future, the movie most likely takes place sometime between 2001 and 2007. Personally, I think the movie takes place in 2006. I think that the last digit on Gusteau's will is a 4, so Gusteau made his will in 2004. Now, the TV report says Anton Ego gave Gusteau's restaurant a scathing review and that this was such a devastating blow for Gusteau that he died shortly thereafter. I think Gusteau probably read Ego's review and began a downward spiral that affected his health. He knew he didn't have long, so he quickly wrote up a will in 2004 and probably died that same year. If Linguini takes over the restaurant 2 years later, that means the movie takes place in summer of 2006. This is speculation, of course, but it's a theory that fits the evidence, so I'm sticking with it. Based on statements from the filmmakers, dialogue, and set dressing, I'm placing Ratatouille in Paris, France, circa 2006. So there you have it. That is my theory for when and where Disney and Pixar's Ratatouille takes place. Please let me know in the comments what you thought of my conclusions and when and where you think the movie takes place. Also, let me know which Disney movie you would like me to analyze next. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe before you go. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.